Alright, I think we're live. I love that honesty never fails. I'm seriously thinking about slabbing and grading the prospectors. Put that on mute. Get to the poll. I'm curious. What do you think? Silver. Will be over 100 this month. Alright, I hope you guys can hear me. Let me know if you guys can hear me just fine. Yeah, I like that. I didn't know about the Sweetheart box until last December. I bought one for the family and then I got one. I didn't know how low the mintage was. The other box, the 22, was 3,000. This one, the 23, was only 2,500. That's a cute one. It's 10 grams of heart. And let me show you the back. It's got that beautiful PAMP logo on the back. Bear hug. I love it. Yeah, so as of right now, I looked at the market, the futures, and everything is up. Let me just check on Kitco. Silver's up $2. Gold is up back over 5,000, 64 and change. The rest of the metals are up as well, looking healthy. So silver's back at $80. So if your dollar cost averaging, yeah, $80 and change. If your dollar cost averaging, you're doing just fine. If you're waiting for those dips, there is no crystal ball. You don't really know when it's going to happen. But when it comes to dollar cost averaging, absolutely. All right, let's see what the poll's looking like. No, so far you don't think silver's going to hit $100 by the end of February, even though it's the 8th right now and it's just over $80. Let's see, it's the 8th. Even though it got knocked down a bunch, it's still higher than the end of last year, being in the 70s. So even with all the smackdowns and volatile activity, especially with that billionaire from China doing the massive shorts, I mean more shorts than were on the record, and China actually is now blocking him from getting his funds. So even though he's out of the country, and he put in those massive amount of shorts, silver's recovering nicely. Gold's doing very well, very healthy. Yeah, again, none of this is financial advice or medical advice, especially when we get into the supplements. But when we talk about being prepared, this is just one of the many facets. Like yesterday, it was really windy. We had our power go out 3 times, and we have the generator. We know we're prepared in case anything happens, but we got fuel for it. We have food, we have water, and we talk about all that stuff. We talk about many different facets of being prepared. You have home insurance, you have life insurance. Metals are no different. It's just a hedge. It's another layer of protection. Wait, I don't think you guys see those. I'm a big fan of the pre-33s. I like those, they're pretty. A, because they're not making them anymore. And they just don't make coins as beautiful anymore. That detail. Very beautiful. The heraldic eagles, the shields. I'm hearing that the premiums are lower on the pre-33 gold. And I'm also hearing that this may actually go up in value down the road just because there is still, believe it or not, some of these, as well as the 90% silver being melted. So if you can get your hands on some low premium pre-33, I think it's a great value. And I'm thinking that I think we'll be able to hit $100 by the end of the month. If it's $80 right now, we go back to Kidco and just check. It's a healthy fluctuation, $79.80, gold, silver, 5,000. Again, anything can happen, paper contracts, but I think between the banks storing gold, countries storing gold, and in fact, Poland is going to be a top 10 holder of gold in the coming years with their massive order. It's gonna move laterally for a minute, shake out the weaker players, then go up like it did in Q4 of 25. I agree. I definitely agree with that. There's a lot of people new to the game. In fact, if you go look on auctions and what's going on right now with shows, especially Whatnot, eBay, local coin shops, I'm seeing a lot of new shoppers in coin shops. A lot of new activity. I'm seeing more grandparents bringing in their grandkids. We just saw another one. Father bringing his daughter last week. We were in there hanging out. So coin shops are doing really well. How are coin shops in your areas? I have not personally seen a shortage of silver in ours. They're still waiting for some payments because I know refiners are back 4 to 6 weeks for payments. I'm hearing horror stories of refiners not paying between $1 million and $5 million. So we have some shops that are low on cash. So the fact that there's this volatility has slowed down activity, not for the regulars, but for the new people who are uncertain of the market and the volatility, especially with silver. I'd like to know what you guys are seeing with your local coin shops, what you're seeing online. Again, this is just one facet. We talk about being prepared and having food and water, the basic security. In fact, today we took out the iTarget. If you look at a couple of pictures we posted earlier, I got the Romeo red dot last year. I'm trying to get that thing dialed in. It's pretty good. I need to take it to the range. Nothing beats the real thing. But I'm consistently hitting the right spot. It's just I'm to the right. So again, like anything, your car, riding a bike, any skills, like speaking a different language. If you don't speak it regularly, you kind of get a little rusty. So it's good to take these things and check out what you have, check out what you need to take stock of. Food, supplies, batteries, rotating your batteries, supplements. This is one I don't think gets touched on enough when it comes to supply chain shortages and issues and whatnot. The basics. It's like over-the-counter medication. We're talking about the basics. Vitamin C, vitamin D, especially now that it's cold outside. Are you getting enough vitamin D? K2, D3, folate. Let's see here. Organs. We're big fans of consuming organs just for health and nutrition. Here's one. Natokinase. If you know, you know. There's a good one. NAC, NAC, D3. You're talking about magnesium. Magnesium plays such a big role with your organs and everything else in your life when it comes to your health. And think over-the-counter medication. If you have anything that has prescriptions for fill in the blank for your own personal health, people are stocking up and having a regular rotation with that. So I'd like to talk about things that are important that sometimes gets overlooked. We get some cool gadgets, cool toys, but it's always the basics. Food, water, security, energy, solar panels. These are some of the basics that I think are important. 90-day refills on your meds. Exactly. We've talked about that many times. So this right here is what we just filled up our weekly supplements. I like those. Those are good. So again, whatever it is that you have, load up on and then rotate, but stock up on extras. Because again, we're hearing all these different stories, geopolitical economics and so on. Everything that happened 5 years ago, people panicking, and then storage shelves are wiped out, deliveries are delayed, and so on. And then unfortunately, people tend to forget. They forget that what happened with shortages and whatnot. So even though it's the doldrums of winter and it's quiet, this is actually a great time to take stock of supplies, skills, what you have. Pruning trees. If you have fruit trees, nut trees, now's a great time to prune them before spring comes and everything wakes up and they start budding again. So if you want to get things cleaned up, now's a great time to do that. Pretty soon we'll be making maple syrup. You're going to have that sweet smell in the air. So if you can tap your trees, make your own maple syrup. So things like this are year round. In the wintertime, we've put together our plan for our garden. I want to go heavy on onions, carrots, celery, tomatoes, things we can make the basics, like the Trinity for meals. Celery, carrots, onion. Tomatoes for make your own sauce. You can freeze dry it, make your own tomato powder. That's very versatile. Things that you like. We're going to be putting chicken wire in like a square over our bushes. So we're upgrading from the netting to chicken wire. So we can keep the birds away, but we can still allow bees in there to pollinate and help us out with that. So again, all these things you can plan ahead now before it gets warm and everyone starts going out for stocking and supplies and everything else. And before metals really go up, and I believe they are, load up on pre-33 gold pieces. Big, small, you have options. I mean, you can go creeking and find your own pieces like this. They're out there in the wild. So before the bugs come, load up on that. Or just go outside and get some fresh air and play in the water and see what you find. Silver, still under $100 right now. Great pieces, 90%. Low premiums on that right now. So if you want to load up on that, I would definitely suggest that. Supplements, have a healthy rotation. Build on that and then rotate it. But again, everything is in tandem. While it's cold and while people are still indoors, you can be planning, you can be getting ready for your outdoor garden, your deck garden, planning ahead if you want to get fruit and nut trees. We're going to be expanding on that this year. I'm really excited. We're going to be cutting down a lot of viney areas behind around the property. We're going to be planting more fruit trees. I want to grow our orchard. And I want to add more nut trees for good omega-3 fatty acids for the brain. It's just good stuff. Think ahead, get creative, look at seed catalogs now, and start planning ahead. Are you guys working on a garden? Are you guys working on expanding? Even if you live in a condo, you could have bucket garden. You can have your buckets and grow potatoes or your own carrots or onions or anything else really. You can have a beautiful trellis with beans. You know the Three Sisters. You remember the Three Sisters?
Yeah.
You got corn that grows high. You got the beans that use the corn as a trellis.
Yeah.
And then the squash on the ground that keeps the weeds away.
Yeah.
Those are the Three Sisters. So again, read books, plan ahead now, and do what you can. But yeah, have you guys been to your local coin shops, and are you seeing a local silver shortage in your own shops? That's what I'm curious. I haven't seen it personally. I have seen a lot of activity online, a lot of new shoppers, and unfortunately I'm also seeing a lot of people overspending on like copper rounds. I'm seeing people spending $20 a round, $35 a copper round. And you're looking at your phone in disbelief, like, am I seeing this? Before you buy silver, gold, different sizes and everything, do the research, have an idea what a quarter gram should go for, what an ounce of gold should go for, what 90% should go for, silver rounds versus silver coins. Get educated first. FOMO is kicking in. Yeah, I know, but that's the problem. You feel bad because I'm watching auctions, and it's great to see people in here. I mean, people are waking up realizing, I want to get gold, I want to get silver, and get some beautiful pieces. But they're overspending on everything from goldbacks, 90%. Listen, take your time. If you can get if you can walk into a local coin shop, ask questions, say, listen, I'm new, I'm interested, I want to get prepared. What can I do? What do you suggest I start? And if they're really good and they want to help you and they're knowledgeable, they're going to say, go towards silver buffaloes, or generic rounds to build up your weight. And then once you have that, you could expand to probably silver eagles or maples, depending on where you are and what you can afford. But just start somewhere. You know what? Even 90%. Silver dimes, silver quarters, silver half dollars. If you got a good coin shop and you can have a good conversation with them, because they want to have repeat customers. They want to see you succeed, do well, and then tell your friends and family, and hopefully show up time and time again. So that's where you can actually make a big difference. Start small, depending on what your plan is. And if you play the ratio, I actually did it for the first time April of last year. I traded in some gold tenths for silver eagles. And when the ratio drops again, I'm going to trade that in for gold and actually have silver left over. So little by little, the trick is being consistent. Again, I'm not giving out financial advice. I'm just sharing what I do. I have a plan every week. And we take the family, we go out, we have a budget, and we hit it. And then when you have a certain amount that you want to trade, more often than not, that local coin shop will say, yep, we'll do trades, absolutely. And you could trade silver for gold, gold for silver, depending on how you want to play the market, depending on how you want to play the ratio. If the ratio, say it's 60, that means 60 ounces of silver for 1 ounce of gold. So you can bounce around, and actually some people have actually made more silver or gold over the years playing the ratio. So there are a lot of options. $30 and up for a gram of, wow, silver. Wait, what? Oh, are you talking about auctions? Yeah, I know. I've seen it. You hate to see it. I've seen one where they run 3 grams of silver for $30, and you hate to see people spending $10 for a gram of silver. 90% is a great way to stack fractional. Absolutely. Even the quarter gold, like from Monarch Precious Metals. I got these a while ago, and they're doing great. These are great for stocking stuffers if you want to get your kids started or grandkids started with metals. Fractional, put these in a cute little box, put them in a stocking, and then explain to them, this is what gold is. It's been used for thousands of years. It maintains their value. If you have kids starting to lose their teeth, I was giving my family silver rounds when the quote tooth fairy showed up. So the tooth fairy is very popular. She's working harder now. She's dispensing more silver. You can have a lot of fun with this. GSR is 63.64. Yeah. So depending on how long you've held the metal for, you can swap now. You can wait a little bit. I'm gonna wait. But yeah, absolutely. You'll never go wrong with just even 90%. I try to take out what I think will be helpful. I have a $50. I didn't bring too much with me. Oh yeah, here, you know what? They have these cards. These are 3 grams. It's authorized by Nui. So you can absolutely get gold this small. You can get 1/1000th of a troy ounce. You can get gold backs. You can get them in pieces like this. You can get very creative, very flexible. They got Libertad, Angel. Big fan of these. Like I said, the Mexican Mint broke my heart last year when they pulled that stunt with the limited Libertads. But again, have your own plan. Be consistent with it when it comes to freeze-dried food or dehydrating. Growing your own fresh food, and then you can freeze it, or canning your own meats. Protein's going to be a big deal this year. I think between the weather and around the world, there's a lot of flooding happening, a lot of cold patterns and shifts happening. Like I said before, my gut said something about focusing back on meat and food, and I'm doing that again. So a little bit here and there. Supplements, you can have a routine. Get these going every week. Metals, same thing. Have a budget. Go with your friends or family. Lunch break to the coin shop and so on. You got anything?
Just overall making sure that you have something that's tangible and real.
Yeah.
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 And then that will go down in value.
Yeah, like the dollar being printed into oblivion. I love the prospectors. I'm seriously thinking about slabbing these and grading them just to help protect them too. These are pretty. Just like trade dollars, there's 6 of them. There's 6 of the prospectors from Englehart. Even pretty ones from Sovereign, from like the Canadian Mint. I mean, there's so many mints out there that make beautiful rounds and coins. Germanian Mint, Canadian Mint, Perth Mint, South Korean Mint. I mean, they just make nothing but beautiful pieces. I have the David eyes, like the statue. I gotta bring that in sometime. I'll fish that out. It's beautiful. Let's see here. Yeah, I'd love to know if you guys have experienced any shortages at your coin shop. I haven't. Been very fortunate. I'm late, but here. Hello from Georgia. Hi, Georgia. How are you? Oh, cool. Two-way hikers. Nice. I was trying to get my Romeo dialed in earlier today. I'm off by an inch to the right, but I think we're going to work on that one. Have you noticed any shortages of silver or gold at your local coin shop? I'm curious. I personally have not seen it yet. Ours have done really well with fluctuation of buyers and sellers. And they did mention that it has calmed down a lot later last week. When I got in, that was the quietest I've seen it in some time. So not a lot of sellers, not a lot of... Actually, I've seen a couple buyers come in when we were there. But no shortages of silver. A lot of slab stuff, a lot of raw stuff. I'm also seeing a lot of new buyers in there, which is encouraging. But at the same time, be educated and know what you're buying before you make those purchases, because I hate to see people spending too much for a $250,000 or even 90%. Just be very careful. Get a range. Look online, have an idea of what each thing should cost. Between pre-33 gold, gold buffaloes. Gold buffaloes, I have heard that they're having a hard time with those. I asked if he had any, our local coin shop, and he said, can you wait a month? And I kind of looked at him puzzled and I said, really? And he's like, yeah. So there's a high premium for those, but there are also gold maples, you know, Kruger Ranch, you can find them, other pieces, but gold buffaloes are still hot. Those things, very popular. Our local coin shop had to post the refiner's prices because noobs were disbelieving the price offered. Yes. Again, this is part of learning, looking at other channels, talking to your local coin shop. Right now, the refiners, and I think there are only 8 of them in the country, are backlogged. They've had such an inundation, especially when silver was over $120 just a couple weeks ago. Gold was ramping up as well. A lot of people were offloading, taking profits, or just trying to move and sell some silver while it was high. And they got backlogged, and that's why there's still coin shops waiting for money to get paid for what they brought in. I did hear from him. He did say that it's getting better. Some local coin shops in my area closed their doors when it dipped and are still closed. Others won't sell any 90% because their wholesaler told them to hang on to it. Wow. God, it's just different everywhere. Thank God ours is still open. That would be such a weird feeling. Others won't sell 90%. Wow. Yeah, premiums have gone down a lot for 90%. And if you can get your hands on it, it's fractional. Dimes are, I love the dimes. I have a guardhouse. That's become challenging to almost finish it. 90% quarters are great. Half dollars are good too. $1.40, rule of thumb is $1.40 in face value for 90% is an ounce of silver. So if you want to use that for a rule of thumb, if you ever wanted to trade or get something, a lot of 90% is $1 bag of spot. Yeah, again, premiums. If you can get your hands on it, everything rotates. During COVID, Eagles were crazy high premium, and then afterwards, it dipped a lot. So during COVID, we were buying a lot of silver buffaloes and rounds, and then when the premiums dropped, we cycled back into silver eagles and other sovereign pieces like maples and Krugerrands and whatnot. So again, it's a matter of playing the premium. If one's up, go for the other camp. And when it starts dropping, swing back over to sovereign or rounds or gold. Pre-33 gold, another good deal. These premiums are actually low right now. So if you get your hands on some pre-33 dollar pieces, 2.5. Indians, I'd love to get a $10 piece. That's next on my list. What do we got here? Yep, there's some good math. 0.715 times the current mill price. Again, it's a lot of fun. It's between having a budget each week, putting away some money for your metals, and then also at the same time swinging over and making sure that you are nutritionally taken care of. God forbid anything happens. Think supply chain shortages or ice storms. We had a wild winter. It came in fast and cold with a lot of snow. We haven't seen that much snow in years. We've been very fortunate to not have to deal with that amount of snow in quite some time. But always good to be prepared. And I think, unfortunately, we've been spoiled for the last 2-3 generations between electricity, having grocery stores near us, next day delivery. And when something happens, it throws us off. So people think about this. People used to have root cellars and canning their own food and being prepared. And then you hear stories about the Great Depression, how grandparents would hang on to literally everything, even pieces of aluminum foil, after cooking. And then we have modern conveniences, Wi-Fi, internet, delivery, restaurants, grocery stores, everything. And we get a little spoiled, if you're honest with yourself. It's nice with all these conveniences, but sooner or later that, bites us in the butt. So hopefully, Georgia, your coin shops are, at least you have something you can shop from. Are all of them closed around you, or do you still have some to shop from? Or are you shopping more online? Because a lot of people have been doing that. I'm seeing a lot of new shoppers online in auctions, and it's really changed the landscape a lot, because between the prices increasing and the premiums, it's made me fluctuate again. It's making me pivot to not so much auctions now, but eBay sometimes, reputable sources that I bought from in the past, coin shops more. Hard times create strong men create good times create weak men create hard times. Yeah, think of it seasonally. We are in winter. Hard times, challenging times, people are lost, but it's going to take those hard times to wake people up and realize how we got here. And then the trick is, once you get out of it, to remember. It's real easy to forget, and if you can remember and stay informed, especially with history, and I think that's why homeschooling has become so much more popular and not a trend. It used to be looked upon as funny, but people are realizing that real history is not being told or taught. Just balancing a checkbook, cooking, the basics in life are not being taught. So I'm so happy to see homeschooling flourish and grow, and these communities just spreading, and more support for it. So if you can do that, fantastic. If you can teach your kids about, money and metal and food and supplies, and learning how to start a fire, and learning, how to read a compass, learning how to just talk and have a great conversation and real history, they're going to do fantastic. And it's going to be just another asset. I'm right on the state line below Chattanooga. Most of their shops are the same. Lots of these trends seem regional. So much for buying on the dip. Yeah, if... All right, so you got some wiggle room there. I like that. Does Tennessee have sales tax? I'm trying to remember which states do and don't. I know New Hampshire doesn't. I'm big fans of that one. But that's fantastic. If you have options to bounce back and forth, that's awesome. I don't think Tennessee does. I know New Hampshire doesn't. Select other states don't. But a lot of states are accepting metal as payment, gold and silver. Contractors are. It's fantastic. I love to see it. Yeah, all this stuff took years. Learning, asking questions, starting off with rounds. starting for like, the bagged meals, and then you grow and advance to the cans, the number 10 cans, and you take your silver that you bought years ago, and then you trade it in for a harvest right, and now you're making your own meals, and it's a lot of fun. Yeah, I want to go panning sometime before it gets warmer and the bugs come out. We've been eyeballing some creeks and rivers. I'm excited. We'll make a short about that. We'll see if we're successful in how we do outside. But yeah, if you can find or even trade, I can't remember if Tennessee has a tax. I know Georgia doesn't yet. Oh, I know. Good for you. Look, if you can take advantage of that, good for you. Port Washington State, my God, they got hammered with that 10% tax. And now that's forcing people into Idaho, which is devastating. Tennessee sales tax, 7%. Wow. With total combined state and local rates up to 10%. Never mind. Okay, Georgia. Hold that line, please. Big fan of the buffalo. You get them slabbed or raw. I think they're pretty close between raw and slabbed. But it's breaking my heart where you can't find them or even have to wait a month to get your hands on one. So again, maples, depending on where you are. Since we're in North America, me personally, I've gone towards buffaloes, maples, other sovereigns if that's the case. Stuff that's easily recognizable. Let's see here. Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, if you can take advantage of buying 90% or rounds without the tax, good for you. We have tax here, so we drive to New Hampshire. They don't have sales tax. So if you make any big purchases, we try to wait and then go north. So again, like I said, careful planning, budgeting, shop local, but if it's anything big, we will go out of state. Taxes, because again, if you can put that extra money instead of taxes towards metal, yeah, make the most of it. But again, think consistently. Get like a whiteboard out now this winter time. Get yourself your supplements, stock up on them. Sometimes there's sales online. Get a few extra bottles so when you rotate, you don't have to worry about being out of one and then have to shop last minute. You can just rotate. You have 2 or 3 at the ready. Canadian gold maples, known as one of the purest gold bullion coins in the world. The Canadian maple leaf stands at an astounding 4/9 fine. Yeah, the Canadian Mint, they do 4/9 silver. Let me see here. Here's the dragon. Here's 4/9 fine for the dragon. Yeah, they do, again, beautiful work. 4/9 fine silver, 4/9 fine with the maple. I like their grams, just for fractionality. These are the maple grammars. They're tiny. They're little chunkers. So I put them in the cardboard. These are great. Yeah, these are 4/9 fine. Again, think fractionality in the future. If gold, say, were to go up to 10 grand, just something crazy. Think like what a tenth would be. That'd be $1,000. So you really want to scale down to like a grand to make it manageable in price. So that would be wild to have a piece, just one piece, be $10,000 in a pocket versus a quarter gram. It's just a baby. I know. That one and the Britannia 1/10, the silver ones, those are tiny. They're fat little chunker silver. You gotta keep those in the tube. But again, getting experience, learning about each piece. I'm a big fan of fractional. 10th, silver dimes, 90%, up to 1 ounce silver. Years ago, I would have a 10-ounce bar, 5-ounce bar, but then I consolidated it over the years, thinking long term. What if silver goes up? Do you want to have that much, value in one big piece? And then are you going to overpay, overtrade for something? So just spread it out, have options. Everything from little gold flakes and nuggets, quarter gram, a gram, and even tenths. I might have one. I took out a box. I like to show examples. Okay, here we go. So you got dos pesos. That's 1.5 grams. See how small that is versus we have 1/10 of Canadian polar bear. So size-wise, you can see value and how much you're willing to carry. So 1.5 grams, 1/10. So 1/10 is 1 ounce. And you get this little guy over here. So A, you're not overspending, which is nice. So you have fractional and options. Harder to barter with a big chunk. Yeah, I mean, if you don't want to overpay, absolutely. You want to take care of yourself. All right, the poll. We got 3 votes. So 67% think, yeah, we will hit $100 by the end of the month. 33% think no. I think, let's see, February. God, I thought about that. I'm kind of on the fence. I think we're going to see a lot more activity probably going into April. But I think there's a healthy chance we might touch it again. I can't see why not, especially since paper contracts are being hammered. That billionaire from China, even though he's outside of the country, he's Chinese. The country's now onto him. Short month. Yeah, well, I mean, we're talking a few days, but yeah. But I think there's just too much attention going on right now. You have retailers that have entered the arena. You have so many new buyers and auctions on eBay and coin shops. So it's throwing a lot of monkey wrenches in there. And now that's mainstream news. More people are talking about it, overpaying for things. I think there's too much attention on the metal market. So there's another wild card. And now you have recognized our 8th year going into a deficit with silver. You have countries buying massive amounts of metal. India, Poland, America now with strategic metals. You have them starting to stockpile silver. Russia, big players. And now you have retailers, which is making things sporty and interesting. Banks. A lot of wild cards. Again, the whole green initiative, solar panels, electric vehicles, people investing heavily into mines, having first right of refusal. I say, again, me personally, dollar cost average, have a plan each week, buy pieces, small, big, save up a little bit, get a bigger piece, save on the premium. You're not going to go wrong with a big piece of metal or a small piece of metal, so you have options here. Eventually, over time, this will always maintain its value versus the dollar, which is being printed into oblivion, which is not backed by anything, not gold, not silver. Again, if big players doing this, I would follow suit, but that's what I'm doing personally. A lot of folks wear their wealth in form of jewelry. Yeah, especially in India. There's a great way to do that well. It's very stealthy. It could be 10 karat, it could be 14, 18, you don't know. Yeah, just be very creative with it. Have a plan. Like anything else, don't fall all into metal. Fall into a little bit of everything. A portion into this, a portion into supplements, a portion into food, a portion into security, training, skills, making improvements in your home, outside with your garden, fruit trees, nut trees. Be creative. Expand on it this year if you're able to. Again, now's a great time for planting. February, we already have our seeds picked out for the garden. We have a plan what we're going to plant and how we're going to protect our blueberry bushes. We've ripped down the netting before we had the big snowstorm, and now we're going to put up chicken wire over the PVC, so it's almost like a grid, so we can keep the birds out from eating our berries, but at the same time allow the bees to come in to help pollinate. So let's end that. Hey guys, I know it's Super Bowl Sunday. Thanks for hanging out. We'll probably end this in a moment. Do you have any ideas, anything that you want to help anyone out with, or questions? I love that there's so many new people into the metal market. This is fantastic. They're realizing the true value in metal versus paper dollars. I love the fact that people are asking more questions and really diversifying from silver and gold and really getting prepared. There's a growing community in making their own sourdough bread and canning their own foods and growing their own food and visiting the local farmers market. If you can't grow it, support them. You can most certainly freeze this food, you can it, and really make it extend over the winter time into spring, so you're ready to grow and do the whole thing all over again. Be as creative as you possibly can. Think about how people survived and thrived during wartime and got through that and we're smarter and wiser and even healthier for it. So you can actually have a lot of fun with this. You can make it sporty. You can have healthy competition with your friends and family. Again, it's just being consistent with it in any which way you can make it happen. I like it and enjoy it, and I hope you guys get something out of this, especially with, you know, it being cold outside, and you can take advantage of planning now and do things off season. Like when you get into buying seeds or supplies for your garden and whatnot, do it now before everyone starts realizing it's nice outside, it's springtime, and they're all doing the same thing. I try to do things out of season, so I don't know, it's just less people to have in that space. So plan ahead, and I hope you guys got something out of this. And we'll do this again next Sunday. So you guys be safe and well. And thanks for